Wake up at 3, you train at 4. You go 4 to 6, come home, breakfast, relax, blah, blah, blah. Now you're back at it again, 9 to 11, relax, and now all of a sudden you're back at it again, 2 to 4, and now you're back at it again, 7 to 9. Look how much more training I have done by simply starting at 4.
Kobe had a dark side, and you could see it in his game. And it's what attracted you to it. It's what made him a great player.
I guarded Kobe in the garden. The fourth quarter start, and Kobe said, "You had a great game." I swear I looked at the clock like, it's 12 minutes, what you talking about?
I had to separate myself. Because going through that time, it felt like there's so many things coming at once. It was just becoming very, very confusing. I had to organize things. So I created the Black Mamba.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Kobe has to deal with these issues, all the personal challenges. The Black Mamba steps on the court and does what he does. I'm destroying everybody that stepped on the court.
Kobe Bryant doesn't sit there and talk about how many MVPs he's won or how many championships he's won. No, he's up at 3 o'clock in the morning practicing every day. Why do you think he is so great? He's not great because he's great. He's great because he puts the work in on a daily basis and he wins every day.
These are choices. Like I made a conscious choice to go after my passion obsessively. Like, it's a conscious decision. So it's not like he missed out on that, he missed out on that. Like, no, I made a choice to consciously miss out on those things because I'd much rather be here.
It's more about the sacrifice, I guess, is the question.
But that's my point. It's not a sacrifice to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a sacrifice. Like, this is my choice. Like, I'd rather do this. Like, if you put a bowl of ice cream in front of the kid and a plate of broccoli, the kid's probably gonna eat the ice cream, right? And so to me, the game is the ice cream. To some people on the outside, all this hard work looks like broccoli.
I don't care. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? We're all people here. We're just different people. You gonna criticize me because I don't wanna go to a bar? You gonna criticize me because I don't wanna go to a club? For what? What growth can I get from that?
It's a simple thing of math. If you want to be a great player, if you play every single day, 2-3 hours, every single day, over the course of a year, how much better are you getting? Most kids will play maybe, an hour and a half, 2 days a week. Do the math on that. It's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. So if you're obsessively training 2-3 hours every single day over a year, over 2 years,
you're accelerating.
You make quantum leaps, man. And so now you do that, and as the years go on, the separation that you have with your competitors and your peers just grows larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never going to catch up because they're 5 years behind. Right? So it makes sense to get up and start your day early because you can get more work in.
Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, what do you have?
I think I realized I was a little different. My first year in the league, when I was very serious about the game at all times, whether it's a shoot around, whether it was a light practice, whether it was on the plane, whether it was at, in the hotel, on the road. I would study the game. I would think about our opponents, and what we're going to do the next practice, what we're going to do the next game. And not every player was doing that.
He feels comfortable being by himself. He feels comfortable with his own world.
I do know on the road, most of the time he spends it in his room, and most of the time he asks us for the tape of the game we played the night before the opponent we're playing the next night. And he has a VCR, and he sets it up, and he watches games. He has a weight instructor that comes with him in the morning, early in the morning. He's down working out in the weights and getting his body and his mind ready for the basketball. He's very, very dedicated to this, to becoming the best player he can be.
The passion came from the love for the game. You know, I loved everything about it, like the smell of the ball, you know, the smell of like brand new sneakers, and like the sound the ball makes when it hits the ground, the ball going through the net, like all those things I love. And so the passion comes from that, because once you have that love, you just want to be a part of this thing all the time. When I was in high school, and I used to work out with the 76ers, I used to ask them, you know, what's it like to guard Mike? You know, Mike? You mean Black Jesus? I'm like, what the Black who? Oh, we call him Black Jesus. Or you can call him Black Cat. I'm like, I'm gonna call him Mike. That's his name. So the level of fear that he inspired in others was insane. Wow. And I would tell him, I said, when I face him, we're gonna go at it. He says, oh, you don't wanna do that. I'm like, what? Man, you don't know me, man. And so when we matched up, I think he understood that. And you know, when I was 18, my first year, he got the best of me a bunch of times. I was right there the next play. You're not intimidating me, yeah. I'm not going anywhere. And I think he saw that level of respect, because I think he was the same way at 18 years old. And that common bond is what I think, you know, where our connection was built.
What Kobe Bryant was to me was the inspiration that someone truly cared about the way I played the game or the way that he wanted to play the game. He wanted to be the best basketball player that he could be. And as I got to know him, I wanted to be the best big brother that I could be.
I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. Right? But you always want to outwork your potential. You know, as hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But you know, basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when like my teammates would say, you know, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit me with an elbow in practice, and like, you know, Nick Van Exel would come up and say, "Are you okay?" I'm like, what? Are you okay? What the hell's wrong with you? You know, so like I always had that extra chip on my shoulder. So like every day in practice for me was really trying to annihilate everybody that I was playing against, because I wanted to prove you don't need to babysit me. Like I'm fine, you know. And so it's always that competitive nature, the work ethic, and curiosity. Because I asked a lot of questions. You know, playing with Bryant Scott, I asked him a lot of questions. Eddie Jones, who was great at chasing guards off the screens, and I didn't understand how to do that. I would sit with him before practice, after practice. Magic, all the Laker greats, I would always sit down and just ask them questions about certain games that I studied growing up. What actually happened there? What did you feel there? Why?
Because a lot of the kids that I was playing against were inner city kids. Yeah. And so you're looking at me as if, okay, this kid's soft, right? He's from the suburbs of Philadelphia. His father played in the NBA, played professionally.
He's got it easy.
Born on second, you know, all this other stuff, right? And so they felt like they could try to be physical or try to intimidate me and do all this other stuff, which they couldn't, right? But now I'm saying, okay, well, you're trying to attack me. How am I going to attack you? How can I mentally figure out ways to break you down? How can I show you that, no, I have the edge, right? And so that's when it first started for me, is figuring out how to get the upper hand on an opponent that way.
And what would you do to mentally break people down then?
Well, I mean, you know, like we used to have an All-American camp that I used to go to, and you know, at the time when I first showed, I was a sophomore, and one of the things I would do is while everybody would be at the cafeteria, work, you know, eating and doing all sort of stuff, I just go back to the gym. I just go back to the gym.
They'd be resting,
and they'd see me leave, right? But now you're in a tough position because you're like, okay, I want to be like, I'm following the kid to go work out, but I know he's working, he's up early, and he's doing all this other stuff. And so that was my way of showing them, yeah, I may be from the suburbs, but you're not going to outwork me.
Wow.
And I'm mentally going to be
someone
much
teach
tougher.
you that? Was that just a thing that you decided, like, I'm going to get in people's minds?
I think it's just figuring out ways to be better.
So when you think about the greatest players of all time, 90-80% of them have God gift, natural talent, ability, body, right? So Jordan, 48-inch vertical. You got the big hands, right? You have Shaquille O'Neal, right? Then Magic, 6'9" point guard with vision. Kobe, standard. If I give you 6'6", and then took every 6'6" guard in the NBA and NBA history, you would never find him. And what he did with that body, it's like you took a S500 and he was pushing it like a Bugatti. That's what we look at. We look at the normal person fighting gods.
You have to dance beautifully in the box that you are comfortable dancing in. So like everybody's box is different. My box was to be extremely ambitious within the sport of basketball. Your box is different than mine, right? Every kid here has their own box, but it doesn't mean that your box isn't as beautiful as mine. Everybody has their own. It's your job to try to perfect it and make it as beautiful of a canvas as you can make it. And if you have done that, then you have lived a successful life. You have lived with Mamba mentality. So it doesn't mean you have to go out here and do all of these crazy things. I'll have to be like this person or that person. No, what are you comfortable being? What is it that you want to do with your life? And once you have that, then you try to live it to the best of your ability.
What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, I mean, every day. I mean, since 20 years. I mean, it was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Man, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast. Right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game and it just never changed.
What is the conversational life like with your wife and kids to say, listen, this is what I'm doing? How did that conversation go?
Well, with the kids, it's different. So like the communication with our children is that Pops is working hard. This is the level of attention to detail you need to have in everything you do. So it's setting the example. Same thing with my wife. My wife's a stay-at-home wife. It's the hardest job, man. Right? So she works really hard at that. I mean, it's, and so her attention to detail with that as well are examples for our children. And then for my wife, it's, she's as competitive as I am. She's just like, listen, man, if you're gonna be out here training 8 hours a day, if you're gonna spend 9 months out of the year away from your family, you better win the championship. But it's a balancing act. And that's the thing that's important, is understanding that we have to have so much energy. Because for like Natalia and Gianna when they were babies, especially Natalia because she was doing prime years, and I go to practice and I'd train and I'd play the game and I'd come home and I'd be sore and I'd be tired. And she wants to go swimming, she wants me to take her to the park, she wants to just jump on my back or whatever the case may be. You can't say, I'm too tired, I'm going to lay down. That's not fair. She don't know what the hell's going on, right? And if this was a game, you'd suck it up and play. I play games with the flu. I play games with 102-degree fever, man. You can't do that.
That is so powerful.
Right? You gotta be on, man. Like sometimes I'd fly back. Like I'd play a game and to not miss my daughter's birthday, I'd fly back, be there for her birthday, and then fly back with the team. Just to make sure I don't miss anything. You gotta lead by example. As parents, you gotta lead by example. If you want your kids to do whatever it is they want to accomplish in life, you have to show them. You can't. You got to show them. And that's what I tried to do.
The Mamba mentality simply means trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day, you're trying to become better. And it's a constant quest. It's an infinite quest. So starting at the age of 2 when I first started playing the game and
on and on and on, I always asked questions. I always tried to get better every single day. At 2, I could dribble a basketball. I could shoot a basketball on a Nerf hoop at the house, and I would go to practice with my father. I would observe my father. I'd sit and watch games with him. I just constantly looked for things to learn from, and very observant.
My parents were great. Growing up, they instilled in me the importance of imagination, of curiosity. Understanding that, okay, if you want to accomplish something, I'm not just going to sit here and say, yes, you can do whatever you want. Yes, you can, but you have to also put in the work to get there, right? So they taught me that at a really early age, man. And when you grow up as a kid thinking that the world is your oyster, and all things are possible if you put in the work to do it, you grow up having that fundamental belief. I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and here I come playing, and I don't score 1 point the entire summer.
Really?
Not one.
And you're playing against other 10, 11-year-olds, or and you didn't score once?
Not one.
Were you in the game?
I was in the game.
How'd you not score?
Because I was terrible.
Really?
Yeah. And I scored not a free throw, not a nothing, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it, being upset about it. And my father just gave me a hug and said, listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm gonna love you no matter what.
Wow.
Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, that gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. From there, I just went to work. And I stayed with it, and I kept practicing. And then the next summer I came back, it was a little better. And the summer came back, next summer it was a little better. I scored.
Yeah,
it wasn't much, but I scored.
And this is 12, 13.
12, 13. And then 14 came around, back half of 13, 14 years old. And then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did, because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals. Well, they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to them. And then my body, my knees stopped hurting. I grew into my frame.
And then your athleticism, once you have the fundamentals, the hard work, the mindset, and you tack on the athleticism, it's game over.
Then it was game over.
Wow.
I think the greatest fear you face is yourself, because we all have dreams, and it's very scary sometimes to accept the dream that you have. And it's scarier still to say, okay, I want that. It's scary because you're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself, right? So being fearless means putting yourself out there and going for it. No matter what, go for it. Not for anybody else, but for yourself.
The hardest thing with him was getting him to stop.
Yeah, okay, take a break, rest.
Yes.
Take the day off.
That was the most challenging thing with him, because over all the years that he had his success, it was about go, go, go. And then when I came on, I was the complete icicle. I got to get you to stop.
After we split apart, were you trying to get more championships than me?
Oh, absolutely.
You were?
Absolutely. And I knew you were going to get one. Because of the energy, going into Miami and D-Wade and everything that was there, I knew you were going to get that one. So I knew I had to get at least 2 or 3. Like, I wanted people to say, see, this is what they're missing here. This is what they gave up for, right? Kobe should have been the one to go. Now he's in Miami. I needed that. I wanted that. I wanted everybody to hate me. I wanted to fuel off of that and just come back with so much anger and so much vengeance. So I wanted that. So when you won, right after you won, I went out to the track and I ran. I did my conditioning. I did my drills. I woke up the next morning. I hit my weights. I did my 1,000 shots. I did everything humanly possible to get myself ready. But I needed it. I was like, all right, yeah, good.
I think a lot of times, when we're born into this world, we actually wind up going backwards. And it seems like the more we mature, the more responsible our dreams become. And the more governors we put on ourselves and our ability to dream and to reimagine. And it's always a fight for us parents and for you guys to make sure that your dreams always stay pure. And so it's not a matter of pushing beyond your limitations or expectations. It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless.
You played a game with zero sleep.
Zero sleep. Zero sleep. It's like,
kids, Natalia had a certain, health situation or what have you, and you're staying up all night, and then you got to go out and perform because fans don't know, teammates don't know, nor do they care, nor should they, that you've been up all night. You got to perform, right? And so you just got to go to work, man.
It's respect.
That's
it.
Respect. It's just a matter of what's important to you, and what's important to you. For whatever reason, I felt like I didn't feel good about myself if I wasn't doing everything I could to be the best version of myself. If I felt like I left anything on the table, it would eat away at me. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. Right? So the reason why I can retire now and be completely comfortable about it, because I know that I've done everything I could to be the best basketball player I could be. It's like as a kid, I said, I want to be the best ever. Right? And now you go through your life and everything you do is try to be the best ever, be the best ever, be the best ever. And as you get older, you start understanding that those things are very superficial things. Right? And everybody has a different opinion about it. No matter what you do, I can win 20 championships. There's always an opinion on who's the best. Everybody has different opinions. And so I started really kind of understanding, maybe that's not the important thing. Maybe the important thing is to, how do we as a team grow? How do I help my teammates be better? So that was the first change for me. And then as I got older still, it became more about how are you inspiring others, right, to find themselves. That is the ultimate championship. So won 5 championships, that's great. Another team won a championship this year. Team's gonna win a championship next year. Those things come and they go. But what stays is, how do you use your passion and use that to inspire somebody else to create their passion? And then how can they pass that on to the next person? That is true success.
How do you want to be remembered? What matters to you in this whole discussion of what do you want people to think of?
I've always said that I wanted to be remembered as a player that didn't waste a moment, didn't waste a day. And I felt extremely blessed by the God-given talent. But at the same time, I didn't take it for granted at all. So if I could be remembered as a person that was born with a lot of talent, but did everything he could to try to overachieve, and lived every day as if he was the 12th guy on the bench, I think that's a very powerful message to have, and something that hopefully the players that are now and players that'll come later choose to embody as well. Go after your dreams, right? Go after it. And I never compromised that. I never allowed anybody to tell me what I was capable of accomplishing. I never let anybody tell me that I can't do, right? I went after it. I put all my eggs in one basket. If you want to accomplish something or do something that a lot of people think is difficult to accomplish, you have to put all your eggs in one basket. And there's no compromise with that. I once had a guidance counselor tell me that I shouldn't play basketball, that it would never amount to anything for me. You know what? Much to your surprise, I took that counselor's advice. I took it and I used it to be the best basketball player I could be. His negativity towards me made me stronger. You can't stop people from trying to limit your dreams, but you can stop it from becoming a reality. Your dreams are up to you. I encourage you to always be curious, always seek out things you love, and always work hard once you find it.
This has been absolutely beautiful, you guys. I can't believe it's come to an end. You guys will always be in my heart. And what can I say? Mamba out.